PHP's code completion, variables and function hints are one of the most powerful productivity boosters. You get to use them every day as soon as you start typing in the editor. Let's take a look. I'll type in first three letters of the function name, and immediately I'm given the list of all functions which begin with these letters. I need to simply scroll down to function I need, hit enter, and immediately that function name is typed in, and I'm now given the hint with the function's calling sequence, with all arguments listed there. So here I'll start typing again, first few letters, and now I'm given the list of all variables previously used in this file. Once again, select the variable, hit enter, and keep on typing. First three letters, and again I'm given all the variables which start with these letters. Select the one I want, and I'm done. This makes this typing as fast as it gets. As everything else in PHP IDE, this functionality is fully configurable. I typed in first three letters in this example, but it doesn't have to be. You should go to Tools Settings, Code Insight under IDE Settings, and here's Code Completion section, which controls the behavior of code completion feature. You can disable it, enable it, disable it for classes, class methods, keep it for class properties, and so on, and you can also specify the number of characters you'd like to type before the hint is given. You can also define the delay supplied with the hint before it appears. You can also define this behavior for tooltips. You can use them for expression evaluation, breakpoint tooltips, function arguments, and you can also define the delay there. Code completion is very useful when you're working with PHP classes, especially in PHP version 5. So let's take a look at this file. I have a simple class called utility, defined in this file with public function foo. There is a function called testReturn outside of that class, which is defined as returning an instance of utility by php comment right here. The first thing we'd like to see is how PHP handles code completion in this situation. So let's start typing again. I'll call my variable first test, and I'll assign it to the return value of the function testReturn. And by the way, you can see that PHP IDE supplies function hints not just for PHP build functions, but for user-defined functions as well. So I'll select function testReturn right here, type in null for the argument, and now let's start typing the variable name again. Variable hints is right there in its place. Type in arrow, and as expected, PHP IDE gives me the methods available in the utility class because it knows that first test is now an instance of the class utility. So type it, and it's typed in, and I'm all set. The next thing to take a look at is this function testReturn2. It also returns the utility, but now it doesn't have PHP comment associated with it. It uses keyword new to return new utility. My variable is now called myvar2, and it's assigned to the return value of testReturn2 function. Start typing again. The hints are right there as expected. Select myvar2, and it works just the same. I'm given the list of public methods available in the class utility. Hit enter, all done. The next example will show how PHP handles globals. Variable obj is assigned to an instance of utility class. It's instantiated with the keyword new right here. There's function getData, which declares obj is global. Now if I start typing obj, and by the way my hints are right there for me, hit arrow, once again I see the list of public methods in utility class, because PHP IDE recognizes that obj still contains the instance of class utility. Hit enter, done. And keep on going. In the next example, I'll make the situation a little bit more interesting when my class utility1 has both variable fooprop and function foofunc, and function foofunc in turn has local variable called localvar, which is assigned to the instance of utility class, and it's also returned from that function. The very first test would be with the function testUtility1, which returns an instance of utility1 class. So my variable for the second test is called second test, and it's assigned the return value of testUtility1 function. So now let's start typing. Wait for the hint with appropriate delay. Select second test. Now when I'm done typing the arrow, I see the list of both functions and variables available in class utility1. And I obviously can select either one. Select the variable this time. The next two examples will demonstrate how PHPD handles basic parameter usage in PHP 5 syntax. In this function we have two variables passed to it, and they are instances of utility and utility1 classes. So when we start typing, for the instance of utility class, we'll get the list of utility methods. But if we are using the variable which is an instance of utility1 class, we'll get the list of utility1 methods and variables. The next function returns an argument which is passed to it as utility1 instance. So let's take a look what happens when we call this function. It's done right here. Variable myArg is now an instance of utility1 class. So if I start typing myArg and do the arrow, I'll get the list of utility1 methods and variables. But finally, we certainly kept the best for last. So let's take a look at how PHPD deals with nested classes. The variable is appropriately called testNested, and it's an instance of utility1 class. So let's take a look at what we can get out of testNested. Arrow. So let's call the method which returns an instance of class utility. This one here, foofunc. Now if I keep on typing arrow, PHPD recognizes that I'm now looking at the instance of utility and gives me the list of utility class methods. So there you have it, a short story about code completion and code insight in PHPD. In the next demonstration, I'll be talking about various tools available in PHPD to deploy your files to a remote server when your project is completed. Thank you.